What if I told you that you didn't physically have to go to work ever again? That instead of going through the oldest time process of getting ready for work, you instead didn't have to leave your bed. No more 30-minute commutes with deadlocked traffic, no more filling up your tank before work because you forgot the night before. Instead, you get to sleep in that much longer prior to beginning your day. You might have guessed it because we all live the same reality. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, we have to find new solutions. As nice as the concept of working from home sounds, we need to remember that there can be some risks. The risk in this case, the online communications Zoom. Zoom meetings seem to have taken the world by storm ever since the COVID-19 pandemic. As the pandemic became a more prevalent situation, the need for a solution to continue to organize and discuss came in the form of online video chat meetings. From work meetings to birthday parties, weddings to education, there seemed to be nothing that the utilization of Zoom can't seem to suffice for. Sure, it's something that we all had to get used to, but hey, here we are processing through our lives in what way that is possible. But these huge benefits have had growing pains. Allow me to elaborate. The FBI has warned about a number of risks involved with using the platform, suggesting exercising due diligence and caution in cybersecurity efforts. Because of this, we need to be sure that we are acting appropriately and protecting ourselves in order to navigate this new world of video conferencing. Because while these new advances are a benefit in our situation, they pose risks to our personal data and what we expose ourselves to. I will summarize with you today 3 different examples that depict the risks involved with Zoom meetings and what you should do in order to protect yourself. You must be thinking to yourself, Kaylee, you keep referencing negative situations that come out of using Zoom, but you haven't given us specific examples. Say no more. Let's admit it. No one is capable of giving 100% effort 100% of the time when they're at work. It's practically impossible to apply yourself to that degree. It may be an exception on the part of our bosses, however, and with the introduction of Zoom, the platform allows them to hold you accountable. With some of Zoom's features, your boss is able to see how active you are during video conferences. According to Mashable, hosts of meetings are capable of a few abilities that you may not have been aware of. Hosts of meetings are able to see if you actively have the app in focus, meaning if you have the app open and active. Zoom allows for subscribers who pay for the service's ability to record meetings, which allows a variety of personnel who did not attend meetings to witness what occurred without the knowledge of those who partook. Zoom also allows hosts of meetings to receive a transcript of person-to-person chats. This means if you decide to personally message a bit of an inappropriate information to a colleague, your employer can see what was said. Lastly, the Mashable article mentions that Zoom has a clever way of selling your private information in the form of advertising tools. Instead of just blatantly selling your personal information, they sell it based on their smart ads that are intended to be personalized to you. Sure, some of these factors may seem as though they infringe on your personal privacy, but realize that the Zoom platform also has the ability for its users to hurt the experience. How do users affect the Zoom experience, you might wonder? There are a few ways. According to Vox.com, hackers have been able to find methods that allow them to easily generate active meeting ID numbers, which they can use to join meetings that have no password protection. This leads to what publication describes as Zoom bombing. Vox describes Zoom bombing as the act of joining public Zoom meetings and trolling the members by broadcasting unwarranted material, like porn or Nazi imagery. When trolls engage with these meetings, it stifles production and exposes the meeting members to content that they're likely to not be receptive to. These issues, unfortunately, have raised concern in our government systems to the point where the New York Attorney General voices concern about the subject. According to the New York Times, the New York Attorney General's office is concerned that Zoom's existing security practices might not be sufficient to adapt to the recent and sudden surge in both the volume and sensitivity of the data passed through its network. Sure, these realities have been placed upon us. Seems a bit dire. Not knowing what can happen when you attend meetings in order to coordinate with others can be an anxiety-driven experience. Fortunately, however, there are certain actions you can take in order to ease your nerves and feel a bit safer. Thankfully, the ability to adjust your experience is possible. Susanna Hussein of Los Angeles Times mentioned a few cautionary tips in order to allow you to use Zoom in a more precautious fashion. These include, but are not limited to, the following 4 options. 1. Make sure to use a new meeting ID for every session. This creates a limited amount of time for potential hackers to find the ID and wreak havoc. It allows for hackers to not be able to invade your next meeting. 2. If you host the meeting, you can also make sure these meetings require a password. If you're able to discreetly share this password, it will help the exposure that your meeting can have. 3. Be sure to continually update your desktop app. By doing so, you will get new patches that will update security. 4. The best option for security comes from the use of their app on either their Android or iOS device. However, these apps have to be regulated by their respective app stores. If all of these solutions are not adequate, however, remember that there are other options available. Though they might not be as utilized as much as Zoom platform, they are still adequate options. In the case that you're having conversations on a smaller scale and really need to ensure that your platform values privacy, you can utilize either Signal or WhatsApp. According to Hussein of Los Angeles Times article, both these platforms have end-to-end encryptions, which can be an asset if you really need to ensure your security. In conclusion, we need to better educate ourselves on our internet practices. By realizing that there are risks involved with our new method of communication, we can better police ourselves from making mistakes when attending online meetings. I hope these examples help you not only realize that there is an issue at hand with the Zoom platform, but to remember that there are certain practices that you can apply in order to maximize your ability at avoiding Zoom bombing and the like. But just remember, as you attend your Zoom classes this week, that as positive as the service may be, you should look into what you can do to protect yourself from threats. Stay safe.